Hi everyone, this is the Bada Bing lesson, and it's a silly word or made up word, but it helps you focus on the specifics of where you were, what you were doing, what you were looking at, and what you thought in the moment, at any moment in your memoir. So you need to look over your draft and see where you could write a bada bing. Is it at the beginning, the middle, the end? Maybe your mind goes right to a moment when your feet were running, or your feet were planted to the ground because you were nervous and you were kind of shocked. Or you can rearrange these. So maybe you think of something really critical. The image in front of you is important to the story. Or maybe you can start with a thought you had in that moment was also critical to this memory. So, a traditional bada bing, you start where your feet were. Then you proceed to what you saw and what you thought. You can rearrange them. It could be a da bing ba or a bing ba da. You can rearrange the feet, the eyes, and the thoughts any way you want. And it also can be one sentence, it could be a compound sentence and a simple, or it could be a compound complex. So, big overview, you can rearrange them in any way you want, and it can be one sentence or three. It's up to you. So, on this chart, we have some examples. This is basic up here, and then it proceeds down to much better with much more vivid verbs. I went into the kitchen. We know went is on the bad word list, but this is just to try it out. I saw my mom at the stove stirring a pot. I thought, chili. That sounds good. Next example. I already see with the word when that it's going to be a higher level sentence. That's a complex sentence. When I stepped out onto the heavily lacquered wooden stage, I couldn't see the audience because the spotlights were in my eyes. What am I so afraid of? I thought. This is fun. So, great image. I can imagine the shiny planks of the wooden stage. I can imagine if you've ever been on stage, you can relate that there's a glare and it's almost a good thing because you can't see anyone in the audience and you just do your thing. And notice how thoughts are not in quotation marks. All right, example 3 of a bada bing. As I waltzed over to my window, so I have another dependent clause, I glanced at a kid rolling into my fence with a tire, and I thought, how funny. So going back, 1, 2, 3 separate sentences. This one that's one sentence, and that's a second. This one is one entire complex sentence. So you have a lot of wiggle room for your sentence variety. And the final one, we have another dependent clause. As I drag myself to the top of the thick beanstalk, maybe you could have also used hoisted, I peeked over the top and gazed upon a huge castle. I wondered who lived there. So that's one sentence between the ba and the da, and the thoughts takes up a third. This just goes over everything I just said. You can rearrange. It can be a bing ba da, a da ba bing. You can rearrange the feet, the eyes, and the thoughts, and you can make them any number of sentences. All right, the next document that accompanies this lesson just breaks that down into more detail. Okay, it can be any number of sentences. You can say the same thing a variety of ways. In this example, you have 1, 2, 3 sentences. In this example, these two, the ba and the da, are one sentence, and that's a third. In the third example, you just have one sentence, and then we're back to This is a sentence and that's a sentence. So you do have, it leaves a little openness for the author to have some autonomy and make some choices. Right? So that's a ba, da, bing. You're going to memorize that. It's where your feet were, what you were looking at, what was in your view, and the thoughts rolling through your mind at that moment. Think about where would the best place be for a bada bing in your writing. Maybe it's the lead. Maybe it's the end. Go into your draft now and see where you could write a bada bing. Good luck.